गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरु साक्षात् परं ब्रह्मा तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री Gurave Namaha. We are in Gyaneshwari Bhavartha Deepika, which is commentary on Bhagavad Gita by Gyaneshwar Maharaj, and we are in verse number 55, and we just saw Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma na shauchati na kankshati samas sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhaktim lavate param. That was the 54th verse, and the 55th verse says Bhaktya mam abhijanati yavanya chasmi tatvatah tato mam tatvatah jnatva vishate tadanantaram. So in this manner, by being one with Brahman and having a serene mind, na shochati na kankshati, he does not grieve nor he desires. And as a result of that, what happens? As a result of that, he gets a equanimous vision towards one and all, and samasarveshu bhuteshu, he mad bhaktim lavatam param, and he, such a person, attains supreme devotion. It is still the process that, and then now here he says mam abhijanati. Mam abhijanati, through the devotion, that means the love for the Lord. In other words, when it is, this love is direct, is understood correctly, Lord is none other than the self, Lord is none other than the reality. When that subjective approach is taken, he says, through devotion, he knows me truly, because we love ourselves the most, and we are in love with the Lord, and we are seeking the Paramatma. All are actually one. The wave, the ocean, and the waters, the individual, the total, and the absolute are nothing but one. Foolishly, because of lack of understanding, incomplete knowledge, we are seeing them as three. We are talking about them as three because of this usage of words. But actually it is only one water, exactly the same way. And what is the nature of water? Taste. So what is the nature of this one who is absolute as well as and on which the totality and the individuality are, and individual is seeking? So what is his actual nature? It's that of love, and therefore the Lord is saying here, through devotion he knows me truly. Mam abhijanati, bhaktya mam abhijanati. Only through devotion he can know me truly and come to know who am I, what is my nature, and how great, meaning Brahman. Brahman is the greater than the greatest, Brihatat Brahman, that which is the greatest. How great I am, how great this absolute truth is. And when he comes to know that subjectively, then he has no doubt about himself that he is the undying one, he is the Ajo Nitya Shashvatoyam Purana, yesterday's verse. Unborn, undying, effortless being. And then he says, what? Tato mam tatvato jnatva, and he having come to know me tattvataha, as in essence, In essence means essence cannot be found outside. You can find outside objectively. You can come to the anu according to yoga. But here tattvata means that is at the physicality level. But when we are talking about subjectivity level, at our subject matter, what is our essence? That is tattva. Tattva means that out of which everything is made. So what is the tattva of a wave? Water. What is tattva of a ocean? Water. See? So what is our tattva? That tattva is that our dharma. That dharma is of pure love, unconditional love. So here when the Lord is speaking, he is taking the position of the absolute. He is not taking the position of the cousin of Arjuna standing in front of him, the charioteer. And having known, come to know me in essence, then tato mam tattvato jnatva vishate tadanantaram, and he enters into the Supreme only when this understanding is made subjective, meaning you sift through the traffic of relations, possessions. You sift through the traffic of the multitude of names and forms, come to the senses. You sift through the five senses and come to the mind. You sift through the thoughts in the mind to come to know that all these thoughts are for the I, and I is nothing but is the life principle. That life principle is the Chaitanya Vastu, and that Chaitanya is the reflection of consciousness of the infinite. When we come to the Chaitanya, then we are the witness, then we are the equanimous. See, this is the process. Come to this of coming to the essence. But we are lost not only in the mind but also in the world. Our approach on a daily basis should be, I must move from manyness to oneness, from gross to subtle, from subtle to transcendental. Why you didn't say causal? Because if you go from subtle to causal, you will go to sleep. We want to bypass sleep. So transcendental. This must be our approach, not only on the seat of meditation, but while we are walking, while we are talking, while we are cooking, while we are giving lecture, while we are listening lecture. This should be our approach, in spite of everything. For that, the right assessment of data needs to be done. Goal must be clear, and devotion towards that highest goal, that devotion must be there. So this is what we are looking at. Now we are at I think we were at the 1137, and there it was told that just as the sky remains behind swallowing all the four elements at the time of dissolution, he becomes one with my spotless and pure state, which is beyond the means and the ends, and enjoys supreme bliss. Just as at the time of pralaya, all the directions, if sky, meaning the space, is the cause, what is the effect? The effect is air, fire, water, earth. These are the effects. Out of space, air came. Then space and air became the cause, fire came. Then these three became the cause, water came. Then those four became the cause, the earth came. Then all the five became the cause, plants came. Then life came. It's perfect order. Without first nutrition was created, after that life was created. Well, life is present in nutrition also, but from plant life, then the vertebrae and the animals and humans. And it didn't stop there. The humans even feed the gods. Idam namama, idam namama. Indraya swaha, arunaya swaha. So it is the human who takes care, who keeps propitiating and everyone. So just as when the pralaya comes, the dissolution comes, everything goes back to space. And what is space? Nothingness, absence. It goes back to that. See? Same way, exactly the same way. Space remains. Everything else that the space was supporting merges back into its original nature. So, what is that base? What is that substratum? The Lord says, I am, or that absolute is. What will collapse? As I gave you the journey before, the stimuli of the name and form and sound and smell, they will collapse into the five senses. The five senses will collapse into the mind. The mind will, for whom is the mind? Who knows that these thoughts are in the mind, the stimuli are in the mind? For the I, come back to the I. Who am I? I am the constant one. I am the Chaitanya. I am the life force. So this way we come back to our essential nature. So and this is what is happening every night when you go to sleep. Everything is collapsing. The physical world as you know it, it collapses, goes back to your senses. Senses go back into your mind. If the senses don't go back to your mind, you will not be able to go to sleep. And if mind does not become silent, you cannot go to sleep. Busy mind is called dream. So your experience is, now only difference is between the pralaya of the space, the dissolution of the space is deep sleep. But we are looking at conscious dissolution, conscious collapse. While everything is collapsing, we are alert and vigilant. Not about the collapse, we are alert and vigilant as to who knows, as being the observer of the collapse, as being the witness of the collapse. This is one way. The other way is that you remain continuously contemplative about the divine, and in that continuous interaction with the divine through thoughts, through bhav, as I, everything will automatically keep collapsing without you being alert about it or vigilant about it. This is the smarter way. The first way was where willpower is required. In the second one, the pralaya takes place without your knowledge. The dissolution is coming about. Everything is merging into the one. And that one, I am, in essence. And coming to this, so these examples are given. My spotless and pure state, which is beyond the means and the ends and enjoys supreme bliss. So what is this? This supreme state, this transcendental state, is free from cause and effect. Ocean is the cause, wave is the effect. Senses are the cause, the stimuli, the world is the effect. The mind is the cause, the senses are the effect. See? So go back to your essential nature. If the I is not there, the mind, the senses, and the world has got no meaning. If I is not there, the whole gamut of experience has got no meaning. So my spotless and pure state, which is beyond means and the end, and enjoys supremely. So he merges into his own essential nature. He is saying that I am accessing the Atman, but Atman is the Brahman. Atma is Paramatma. There is no difference. The wave is going into itself and becomes one with the water. But that water, when it is abiding in the water as the water, there is no waveness in it. But that water is by nature infinite. It doesn't stay limited to the wave. Nature of water is infinite. So we must understand that Atma is Paramatman in the right context. Otherwise, we will keep thinking, oh, self is inside. No, self by nature is all pervasive. Isha vasamidagam sarvam. Just as the river Ganges meets the sea and shines in this mingled state, similar to it is this enjoyment of the supreme bliss. As a mirror sees its own reflection in a mirror placed in front of it, so he experiences the bliss of Brahman. Have you ever seen a mirror looking at a mirror? What happens when a mirror looks at mirror? What happens when two mirrors are kept opposite each other? Have you ever seen? No. You take two mirrors and you stand in between. You will see infinite you, infinite reflection of yourself. Both ends. You look at this mirror, infinite. You turn back, infinite. See? So so when you look at that infinite reflections of yourself and you are standing in the middle, what is your experience? That I alone am reflecting everywhere. I am only one. All these are only reflections, isn't it? This is from your point of view, because you are still there. But if a mirror is reflecting the mirror, infinite possibilities, and yet nothing is taking place, isn't it? Even when you are standing in the middle, infinite use, but actually nothing has happened. Actually, you are only one only, but appearing as infinite numbers. Exactly the same way, when we come to the essence, we realize this game of the world, this name, form, and space, time, objectivity, which is giving rise to this infinite world, all this is a mere appearance. The only real is me. So, just as you are standing between the two mirrors, you are looking at everything but not retaining any of you. Oh, what will happen to all my reflections if I go away from here? I don't want them to die. I don't want them to suffer. So I will continue staying here. Stupid conclusion, isn't it? This is exactly what we are doing when we are living in this world. This entire world is a reflection of the self. You be the self. Everything will sort itself out. But we want to sort the world and forget the self. That is our lot. As a mirror sees its own reflection in a mirror placed in front of it, so he experiences the bliss of Brahman. What is the bliss of Brahman? Oh my God, I am infinite. There is no end to me. Is there any end of your reflection if you are standing between two mirrors? There is no end. Infinite number of you reflections. But when the mirror is kept aside, the reflection vanishes and the seeing agent remains alone and in the enjoyment of himself. So, whether appearance goes or is there, the source of joy was not the reflection. The source of joy was the original. Without the original, reflection was not possible. So, when the mirrors are taken away, the joy is still there because I am. Till here, we did last week. Now, in the 1141 OV, Chailiya swapnanashe apale aikyasi dise te duze naveen jaise bhogize ka. तोची झालिया भोगूतयाचा न घडे हा भावो जयाचा तिही बोले केवी बोलाचा उच्चारू कीजे तयाच्या नेणो गावी रवी प्रकाशी हनदिवी की व्योमा लागी मांडवी उभिली तिही हागा राजन्यत्व नहता आंगी रावो रायपण काय भोगी का आधारूहन आलिंगी दिन कराते आणि आकाश जे नव्हे तया आकाश काय जाणवे रत्नाच्या रूपी मिरवे गुंजाचे लेणे. He says that after the dream disappears in the wakeful state, after the dream appears in the wakeful state, then a person remains conscious of himself and he enjoys his single state all alone. So, don't imagine, don't project. When we don't imagine, don't project, then we will remain wakeful. Otherwise, we are being hijacked by our imaginations. Where? In the steam, on the seat of meditation. What about in the waking state? Are we hijacked by our imaginations? Yes. I look at you, I don't know whether these people are listening or not listening. Imagination. While giving the lecture, our mind is multitasker. Oh, where have all other people gone? Oh, maybe they are gone on a trip or something. And the lecture is going on. Imagination. What am I going to tomorrow? Suddenly, sometimes these thoughts come while talking, if we are not aware. So what is happening? Looking at someone, something gets triggered, talking some message, all this talking is only dream only. Why I am taking only examples outside? All this talking is talking in dream only. So when he says after the dream disappears in the wakeful state, what is this dream disappears into the wakeful state? That you are wakeful and all the sounds, names and forms, they have gone back to their source, they have become unmanifest and you are still wakeful. You are awake, you are not gone to sleep. In other words, Nirvikalpa Samadhi. After the dream disappears and in the wakeful state, then a person remains conscious of himself. So when all the names and forms become unmanifest, have gone back to their source. So before you were seeing the names and forms, you were seeing, hearing, touching, feeling, tasting. Now there is nothing. Now there are no thoughts. So now what is there? Rather than come to the conclusion there is nothing, because nothing is not an object of contemplation. Nothing means absence, nothing, that which is not. How can you see that there is nothing? Nothing doesn't have a shape, nothing doesn't have a form, nothing doesn't have any quality. So instead of going into that absence or void or nothingness, this is what the two verses were about, that when your attention is on the conscious principle, on the wakefulness, that is the alertness and vigilance I was talking about before, then one remains conscious of his essential nature, conscious as consciousness. He is conscious of himself. What is self or Atma? It is self-conscious. So this is another way of putting it. He becomes conscious. He remains conscious of himself, because now there is nothing to be conscious of. When you are an observer, now I am observing you. You are all there on the screen. Once the lecture is over, all of you go away. Then what am I observing? You will say laptop. Huh? But if laptop is not there, then the room. If the room is not there, the trees. If the trees are not there, then there is nothing. So am I focused on nothing? Now when the last objectivity drops away, instead of coming to this conclusion that I am seeing nothing, now there is nothing to be observed, the observer goes back to his source. He is the observer. Now he goes back to his source. This is being conscious of yourself. Nothing needs to be done. It automatically happens. The only training that is required is remaining wakeful, remaining alert about the essence. That I am the unchanging one. I am the unborn one. I am the blissful one. I am the self-existing one. This is called discrimination. Everything else is coming and going. And he enjoys his single state all alone. So, ekameva dvitiya nanasti kinchana. He alone is thereafter the self, as the self, in the self. Okay. Now some doubts are presented in order so that we don't remain caught up in wrong conclusions. These are the doubts which are taken by Shankaracharya, but here I guess our Gyaneshwari Maharaj knows about it, even at that young age, being a divine person. So he is also taking the doubts in a similar manner. He says, one may raise a doubt and say that there cannot be any experience after union with Brahman. That after there is oneness with Brahman, meaning Brahmatmaikya Bodha. Brahma, Atma, Aikya. Aikya means they become one. bodha, thought-free realization, thought-free experience. So here he says, one may raise a doubt and say that there cannot be any experience after union with Brahman. Experience is always of something else. Experience, one is when you are coming to yourself, it is an experienceless experience. But once you have gained the experience that you are all that there is, will you see the world? Will you experience the world of name and forms? Or will you see the world as the self? Question. These questions and doubts only come because we have not arrived at the destination yet. But the student is a student. And here Shankaracharya is bringing out all these discussions so that it's the final chapter also, and no stone is left unturned. We gain as much clarity as possible. We asked such a doubter, how can a word utter a word? Is it that the country of such a person one can see the sun in the light of a lamp? Or is it necessary to make a canopy for the sky? Can a king enjoy his royal position if he does not possess the royal attributes? How could a thing have a conception of the sky unless it is the sky itself? How can ornaments of gold equal an ornament made of gems? So we are saying, see, this is exactly what I said before. We are talking out of our hat. We are studying this without having gained the direct experience of the self. Who knows the sky? Only sky knows the sky. What is that? Oh, I also know the sky. You see, up above, the world so high, like like a diamond, like the sky. I can see the sky. You ask someone else, oh, I see blue sky. Then other will argue, no, sky has got no color. It is colorless. In the evenings, it gets red, green, yellow, orange colors also. Oh, yes, so it is colorless. So what is colorless sky? Have you seen a colorless sky? Nobody has seen colorless sky. And you say, I know the sky. What is your vision? How wide is your vision? Only as far as the horizon. Is the sky only as far as the horizon? Is the sky only as far as the horizon? No. Is the sky only as far as what you see? If you see up, how far can you go? Infinite. There is no stopping. So what have you seen? You have seen nothing. See? So who knows the infinitude of the sky? Who knows the infinitude of the sky? The sky alone knows the infinitude of the sky, isn't it? Can the individual ever come to know the self? Can the individual ever come to know the self? Not possible. Can the waker come to know sleep? Not possible. Waker has to vanish for sleep to begin. Similarly, the seeker, the individual, he has to dissolve. He has to have the direct experience. So if a wave is looking for water, it has to give up its waveness. Only then it can be the water. And the moment it is water, it understands what infinity, it understands without understanding what infinity is. This is what we are doing in the Amrut Anubhav. Words devalued. But here, this dialogue is happening because we are not established. We are established in it because that is our essence, but we don't know it directly. We haven't had a aparoksha anubhuti. See? So, here are these different examples that Gyaneshwar Maharaj is taking. The king alone can enjoy the royal position. If he has the position, only then he can enjoy. You can only talk about it. You don't know what it is like. Can a king enjoy his royal position if he does not possess the royal attributes? Before you know, you will be killed. Before you know, you will be displaced from the throne. You have to have the acumen, you have to have the power, you have to have the correct judgment of people. You have to have the large-heartedness in order to be a king. How could a thing have a conception of the sky unless it is the sky itself? This we spoke about. How can ornaments of gold equal an ornament made of gems? So there is no comparison. Gems, individuality. Gold, infinite. Because gems are individual pieces of stones, isn't it? So there is no comparison between individuality and infinity. So if we are thinking that we can maintain our individuality and yet experience the infinite, you are knocking on the wrong door. Our contemplation is going the wrong way. Continuing from 146th verse. This is clear, this doubt what he is asking. म्हणवनी मी होणे नाही तया मीची आहे केही मग भजेल हे काही बोलो कीर या लागी तो क्रमयोगी मी झालाची माते भोगी तारुण्य का तरुणांगी जिया परी तरंग सर्वांगी तोय चुंबी प्रभा सर्वत्र विलसे बिंबी नाना अवकाशन भी लुठतू जैसा तैसा रूप होऊनी माझे माते क्रिया वीण तो भजे अलंकारू का सहजे सोनया ते जेवी का चंदनाची धृती जैसी चंदनी भजे अपैसी का अकृत्रिम शशी Chandrikate. He says, so how can one who has not become one with me know what I am? Krishna Bhagwan, here I told you, he has taken the position of the absolute. So can you come to know the absolute without being the absolute? Can you know the vastness of the sky without being one with the sky? Isn't it? Can you know swimming without entering the waters? It is like that. So here Krishna Bhagavan is saying, how can you know me, the Parabrahma Paramatma, without being one with me, without having merged into me? Anything else other than this merging is objective approach. If there is one thought also, it is objective approach. So how can one who has not become one with me know what I am? If not, How can one say that he is devoted to me? How, if I am of the nature, remember what uh, Bhaktim, what was that? Mad Bhaktim Labhate Param. And Bhaktim Labhate Param and Bhaktim Mam Abhijanati. So he is of the nature of love. He is of the nature of devotion. How can you know love without being one with it? How can you know love objectively? How can you know love objectively? See? So, giving a hug, giving a kiss, giving dakshina, dana, showing compassion, showing empathy, all that is okay. Those are all some expressions which happen and then go away. Love is not something which comes and goes away. Love is continuous. Do you stop loving your body? You're continuous, you're concerned about the body. My poor body, today it is tired, today it is sick, today it is healthy, now it wants a tea, now it wants a coffee, now it wants breakfast, now it wants lunch, now it wants shower, now it wants rest. Continuously are indulging. Is that love? You don't even say that you love the body. You don't ever say that I love my body. But your actions are showing, isn't it? Like we are so at one ment with the body at this moment, are we at one ment with the Supreme, the essence, the Supreme Consciousness? Are we? Only then, being one with that Supreme Consciousness is being in love, being one with love. Then it is being one with love. Then you will not worry about am I doing the right thing, I'm not doing the right thing. These thoughts will not come in your mind. So here he says that, so how can one who has not become one with me know what I am? If he has not become one with me, how can one say that he is devoted to me? If he has not become one with me, how can he say that he is devoted to me? Then your devotion is declared by your own mind, by your own mouth, that I am a devotee of the Lord. Why? Because I am chanting Ram, 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 Ram. It's self-declaration without the experience of the divine. And what is the experience? Direct experience, aparoksha anubhuti of the divine, where you vanish, where you as an individual dissolve, where you as a seeker are no more. Does that happen every time we sit on meditation? In meditation? Does that happen every time we take the Japamala and start Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram? Do we merge back into ourselves? Or we remain only at the lip level? Or we are imagining some form in our mind of the Lord? Or are we We have practiced the mantra to with such deep devotion that naturally the mantra concludes of its own accord, and you remain. Does that happen? So, going to temples, going to pilgrimages, doing pujas, singing Ramayana, attending satsangs, having tears, having horripilation, experiencing ecstasy, all this is not equal to pure devotion. Because individuality is still there. No doubt, you are moving ahead. But understand, we have moved ahead and we have come to the conclusion of Bhagavad Gita now. There is no more to move ahead after this. So, there is no more journey to be traversed. So, we are coming to the ultimate conclusion where nothing more needs to be done, nothing more needs to be achieved, nothing more needs to be sought. Nothing more needs to be experienced because you are it. You are the experience. You are seeking yourself in essence. You want to experience yourself in essence, not the world. So that all those various steps, all that is over the till 17th chapter. This is the recap going on. Then he says, for this reason, he who practices yoga step by step becomes one with me and enjoys the bliss of myself. Yoga step by step means that krama mukti. Krama mukti is step by step. Like we have grown step by step. First we were child, then we became teenage, then we became youth, then we became adult, then we became middle age, then we became senior citizen. Step by step. You didn't become senior citizen, black, straight away. After childhood to straight to senior citizen. No, step by step. Same way in our profession. We grow from whatever lower position, then higher, then manager, then area manager, then general manager, then CEO, vice president, senior vice president, then managing director, then CEO. Step by step. Our Modi also, first he was a chief minister, then he became the prime minister. 2 steps, okay, he's smart. So everything in relativity, there is krama mukti, where in our mind relativity is taken as valid. The world is taken as valid. The objectivity is taken as valid. Their krama mukti is the way. Their direct realization, crack, it will not happen. You have to go step by step. And what is that step by step? Mooladhar, Swadhishthan, Manipur, Anahata, Vishuddhi, Agya, and Sahasrar. This is step by step. Another step by step, from merge the earth into water, water into fire, fire into air, air into space, space into the mind, mind into the I, and I recognize I to be the Chaitanya, the reflected consciousness, the I am. This is step by step. This is you can do that in your own body. See, But we have to come to the conclusion. If you want to do shortcuts, it is not going to happen. People want shortcuts. They want instant. So many courses you see on YouTube. Instant enlightenment. Instant. Instant realization. And people fall for it and pay thousands and thousands of dollars for it. They want Kundalini experience. They create a certain environment. They keep them hungry. And automatically your mind, if there's no food, water, and if your thoughts are being directed, and if there's no nourishment going in, your mind will get fixated. 21 days. If you have the courage, go through it. Don't allow the mind to be distracted by relations, positions, past, future, totality, individuality, only the self. See? And drink water only. Keep the intake minimum. If you increase it, then thoughts will increase. We are starving the mind of thoughts. Thoughts come because of food. No food, no thoughts. But while that is about to take, no thoughts means what? Nothingness. Oh, you can reach nothingness without food also. Yes, you can. But do you have the courage and stamina and the will to not eat for 15, 20, 21 days? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Now it's better, Swamiji.
Okay. Oh, it flips. Yeah, it flips. It goes into the front house internet. Then when it comes internet unstable, I know something is going wrong, so I have to change it. Yeah. So you can, but we are so obsessed with the world that we want one leg in the world and one leg in the spiritual journey. And how do we justify it? We must have balance in life, We must have balance in life. That balance will tear you apart. Give yourself 1 month, finish the story and jump back, and life will continue. Don't worry. If not, Krama Mukti is the way of one leg in the world, one leg in spirituality. Krama Mukti. While living in the world, wherever you are, keep doing your practices, but understand the journey. Must be clear about the goal, must be clear about the journey, must be clear about the position that you are, who you are. And you must also recognize the obstacles that are coming. So one thing is, sometimes I go in that angle, you don't even have to recognize the obstacles. You remain only inspired by the goal. You don't think of the obstacles when you go to sleep. You are only inspired by sleep and all obstacles get taken care of, isn't it? So same way here also. So here he says that, where are we? He who practices yoga step by step becomes one with me and enjoys the bliss of myself, because the self is of the nature of ananda, the bliss. As a maiden enjoys her youth, or the ripple kisses the water, or the splendor of the sun shines in the sun's disk, or the space pervades the sky, so he becomes one with me and worships me without overt action. So remember, what is the name of the chapter? Moksha Sanyaasa. Sannyas from what? Sannyas from all karma. Karma is performed, action is performed where? Manasa, Vacha, Kaya. Understand? Now, what is the statement he has made here? Krama Mukti. So first you became free from the gross karma, the Kaya karma. Then you became free from the finer, subtler, which is the speech. And then you became free from even the subtler, which is the mind, where the action is going on. Krama Mukti, from outside to the body, from the body to the inside the body, which is the mind, subtler than the body. Again Krama Mukti, step by step. So, sannyas is renunciation of all activity. We are obsessed with activity. What do I have to, after this, yeah, I understood everything. Now what should I do? यही क्वेश्चन आता है ना मन में. What should I do? There is no doing. There is only being. There is only being. There is only being. Which is, so wherever there is doing, there is ego, there is individuality. Can you hear? Yeah. Wherever there is doing, there is enjoying. Doing and enjoying are for the individual. Being is independent of doing and enjoying, karta and bhokta. So because we could not, we are incapable of accepting as the infinite Parabrahma Paramatma. So we are told, okay, you go from tamas to rajas, from rajas to sattva, from sattva to total sattva, and then shoot out. Slowly, slowly, step by step, raise your individuality, recognize that this individual consciousness is not just, its nature is not only individual, its nature is total also. Oh, but I can't think of the total. Okay, go slowly, slowly, bhur, bhuva, swa, tapa, jana, maha, slowly, slowly you go up. And then blast forth. Go beyond that. Step by step. Why? Because I am addicted to doing. Doing is only possible where there is objectivity, where the world has been taken to be real. Bhagwan is saying, forget about the world, you take only me to be real. Initially, if you take it with form, no problem. That's why the 12th chapter was there. But as we come closer to him, knowledge emanates. We become clear that as we become one with the divine, just like we become one with the bliss in sleep, there's no form, there's no disease, there's no past and future, there's no relationships, there's no possessions. There's no day and night. There's no waker or dreamer. You are in bliss, in sleep. This is your daily experience. All here Bhagavan is saying is, once you merge with me in the essence, exactly the same thing will happen, but you are awake. That's all. You are conscious of your consciousness. In deep sleep, we are unconscious of our consciousness. Meaning, another word for it, we are ignorant of our consciousness. So in the step-by-step liberation, in slow doses, we maintain our wakefulness. We maintain wakefulness means remaining in the waking state. Waking state is sattvic state. So you have to remain awake. You have to remain conscious. Can't imagine, can't dream, can't go into a gaga land on the seat of meditation. No, remain. How do you do that? By holding on to the name, by taking support of Om or mantra or whatever, or such contemplations. So the whole name of the game is remaining awake as the mind travels from tamas to rajas to sattva, and then total. Remaining awake, not getting overwhelmed, not losing the plot and falling into the trap of ecstasy and all those things. Ecstasy happens to the mind. Horripulations happen to the body. Tears are in the eyes. Music and dhol and damru is for the ears. That has got nothing to do with consciousness. Those things happen or don't happen. Do not seek them out. Give them zero value. Keep moving. Stay awake. You get involved in it, you will, the moment you become you give validity to the objectivity, that very moment sleep will come. So these are some fine adjustments that you have to bring about if you are chanting, if you are doing your own meditation on a daily basis, doing your japa sadhana. Remain awake, remain awake, remain awake. When you chant the mantra, rather than chanting the mantra, chant it atmatvena. Remaining conscious of the self, chant the mantra with bhav, with alertness. Don't let it become mechanical. If it becomes mechanical, gone, you will go to sleep. What is mechanical? Waking, dream, deep sleep. Waking, dream, deep sleep is mechanical. Every day it is going on. You want to get out of this mechanical, repetitive nature of the mind, expression of the mind. So he becomes one with me and worships me without overt action. So now he has become free from activity. At the body level, body is silent. Breath is slow and shallow. Mind has become silent. He is awake. So no activity taking place. Vaikhari, Madhyama, Pashyanti Para. When it has gone to Para, there is no sound coming out, no mantra. If there is no mantra, there is no thought in the mind also. But you are awake. But no, so there is zero activity and you are awake. One word of caution. So this understanding is required. Where there is no activity, you are awake to yourself. Not awake to nothingness. If you are awake to nothingness, again you have lost the plot. You are awake to yourself, the conscious principle. Who is this? I am that. So for that, preparation has to be done. Mind has to be prepared. I make a mistake here. Mind cannot be prepared because mind cannot know the self. So mind cannot be prepared. But while we are speaking in this manner, you have to be the one who is other than the mind, who is observing the mind, which is shunting through activity and no activity. As our Nachiket said, what is that? Anyatra dharmat, anyatra asmat, krutat, anyatra bhutatcha bhavyatcha, yattat pashyati tadvada. What is that which is other than righteousness and unrighteousness, virtue and vice? What is that which is other than cause and effect? What is that which is other than doing and not doing? What is that which is other than the past and future? So all these opposites we just mentioned, where are they? They are only in the objective world, meaning they are only in the mind. Who are you? Who is knowing the mind? Who is observing the mind? Who knows that these thoughts have come and gone, these ideas have come and gone, that these concepts have come and gone, these imaginations have come and gone, these arguments have come and gone. You are the one who is observing all this. You are the one who is observing the waking dream, deep sleep has come and gone every day. Recognize this. All we have to do is discover that we are that one. And this can happen only in a satsang, because by yourself you will never think so much. See? He becomes one with me and worships me without overt action. So how does he worship me? Maunam vyakhyat prakatita parabrahma yuvanam. In silence, he worships me. How does he worship me? Not objectively. Atmatvena, he worships. By being one with me, he worships me. Such is a true devotee. Because he has known me completely, as I am. By merging into me. So once he has merged into the divine, then there's only divine left. There's nothing else left behind. There's no individuality left. There's no world left. Just as gold inheres in the ornament, the fragrance is diffused in the sandalwood, or the moonlight abides in the moon, or a moon, non-dual devotion takes place even though he does not perform any action. Just like the moonlight and moon are not separate, the gold and the ornament are not separate, Similar, the sandalwood and its fragrance are not separate. Similarly, devotion and the divine are not separate. They are one and the same. Now, same language you can apply to God also. Exactly the same language can be applied to Ishvara, it can be applied to God, and that is okay. But that is not our goal. We can take the help of the Ishvara, no doubt we can take. That's why we chant his name. That's why Gyaneshwari Maharaj says, chant the name of the Lord. But instead of remaining lost in the form of the Lord, instead of remaining lost in the name of the Lord, yes, we must get lost, no doubt. And this is the understanding that must come as we are coming closer and closer to the Lord. This understanding must come that Lord is essentially the infinite supporting the totality and the individuality, yet being independent, yet being transcendental. Until and unless we do not sort this guthi, conundrum of Jeev, Jagat, Ishwar, what is the position of Jeev, what is the position of Jagat, what is the position of Ishvara, what is the relationship between the three, each other, and what is the sadhana to come to get out of the gravity of this Jeev, Jagat, Ishwar. Can you change the world? No. Can you change Ishvara? No. Then who is left? Only you can change yourself. Can you come to know the infinite world, past, present, future? No, I can't. It's not possible only. Can you come to know Ishvara? I don't know where he is. I only have a conception of him. I have only idea what people have given me, that he is Shiva or he is Narayana or he is Rama or he is Ganesha or whatever. But who is he? What is his nature? So yes, if I don't want to know anything more, I'll just take one Lord and I'll hold on to him. And what will happen when I hold on to him? The individual will merge. For individual, there is the world. For Ishvara, there is no world. For Ishvara, he alone is the world. So in other words, Jeev, Jagat, Ishwar, everything is nothing but divine, but you are imagining three in it. Who is imagining? The world is not imagining Ishvara and Jiva. Ishvara is not imagining Jagat and Jiva. It is the Jiva who is imagining Ishvara and Jagat. So he sees such a huge world and he says, oh, there must be a creator of this whole world. Who is it? Ishwar and Prakriti. They are the original parents. Because he is himself born from parents. So if this total universe is there, there must be some cause. That is Ishwara and Prakriti. So the problem is with the Jiva. He cannot do anything about the world. He cannot do anything about the Ishvara. But he can do something about himself. Where his attention is. Where his attention is. Is his attention on the gross? Is his attention on the subtle? Is his attention on the causal? Or his attention is on the transcendental? Again, step by step. Where is your attention? When we chant loudly, it is tamasic chanting. When we chant by our throat, madhyama, it is subtle chanting, rajasic chanting. When we chant, when we go into silence, it is and remain conscious, it is sattvic chanting. It is silent chanting. And this is silent devotion which he is talking about, where you are awake to yourself, to the Parabrahma Paramatma, to the divine principle as I, and the mind is silent. See how wonderful. All these are the prakriyas. The prakriya means the unfoldment. Somehow we have to become free from karma. Somehow we have to be free of karma. Whether you go bang into meditation, it's okay. Slowly, it's okay. Vaikari Madhyama Pashyanti Para, okay. Sapta Chakra, okay. Lay Prakriya, okay. Tamas to Rajas, Rajas to Sattva, Sattva to total Sattva, and then beyond, okay. The stimuli into the senses, senses into the mind, mind into the I, and I is the reflected consciousness, the Chetana. Chetana of what? Chetana of the Sat Vastu. That I am. Again, come back. When? Daily, every moment, 3-4 times, as many times in the day as possible. Write down all these. If you remember, write down all these. About 5-6 different prakriyas I just gave you. And initially, start from wherever. Relax the body, relax the breath, relax the mind, and remain awake. Important is remain awake. Sona nahi. Non-dual devotion takes place even though he is not performing any, he does not perform any action, means he is remaining. Krama mukti leads to karma mukti. Krama mukti leads to karma mukti. Karma sannyas, free from all activity. Continuing, we are at 1150. तैसी क्रिया कीरन साहे तरही अद्वैती भक्ति आहे हे अनुभवाची जोगे नव्हे बोला ऐसे तेव्हा पूर्व संस्कार छंदे जे काही तो अनुवादे तेणे आळविले निवोदे बोलता मीची बोलतया बोलताची भेटे तेथे बोलिले हे न घटे ते मौन तव गोमटे स्तवन माझे म्हणूनी तया बोलता बोली बोलता मी भेटता मौन होय तेणे तत्वता स्तत्वितो माते तैसेची बुद्धी का दिठी जे तो देखो जाय किरीटी ते देखणे दृश्य लोटी देखतेची दावी. He says here, so we saw non-dual devotion takes place even though he does not perform any action. This cannot be expressed in words because silence. So what is that he is doing? He is having supreme devotion without any activity, without any mental activity. This cannot be expressed in words. This is direct experience. This cannot be expressed in words, it can be realized only through direct experience. Then whatever he says because of the latent impressions of his past actions or calls me, I respond to his calls. But there the one who says or calls is also myself. Now he is talking about the disposition. Mind cannot remain silent all the time. We are not talking about inert silence. Inert silence is samadhi. We are talking about you remaining awake not to the silence but to the essence in the silence. Who knows the silence? Who is the conscious one? For that you must, the mantra must lead you into the self. If you give importance to silence, then it will be Jada Samadhi. If you give importance to the conscious self by attending satsangs again and again and again till we brainwash you completely, then when you do the mantra, automatically I will have no doubt as to when the mantra concludes, we will not give validity to nothingness or void, will not be afraid of the unknown, and joyfully. That's why mantra should be done joyfully. So when it concludes, the joy remains. That joy is not coming from mantra. That joy is coming from you. That is your nature. And that joy continues. You don't scream and laugh and be ecstatic in deep sleep, but it is called Anand. You get the maximum joy in deep sleep. But you are not having any expressions of joy while sleeping, except completely dead to the world. Exactly the same way. When consciousness is aware of consciousness, it's completely dead to the world. Why? World has gone back to its source. It's become unmanifest. When it does become manifest, because that's the nature of the mind. Mind can only remain in silence for so long, initially maybe microsecond. But as we keep practicing, the silence will longer and longer. Means your abidance in yourself will be longer and longer. I told you last time, it starts from the anahat until it reaches the gap between the two thoughts. Your abidance in yourself, meaning your initially from here till here, your focus on yourself remains steady. And when it reaches the Sahasrara, what happens? Here Bhagwan is saying that when the mind comes into activity, now individuality is dissolved. Then Bhagwan only, because of the latent impressions, Bhagwan alone is the latent impressions. Bhagwan alone, because from the infinite point of view, from the water's point of view, water alone is the totality, water alone is the individuality, and yet water is none of the two. It is transcendental to both. So at a relative level, Bhagwan is saying here, the Lord taking the position of the Absolute, he says that then whatever such a person says, meaning now when such a person who has abided in the self, he comes out of meditation or his like Nisarga Datta Maharaj or Ramana Maharishi or Ramakrishna Paramahams or Anand Mahima or so many masters are there. When they come out, they speak, they talk. whatever he says because of the latent impressions, subconscious impressions. We are product of our latent impressions. That is the sanchita karma. So how long will that be? Till they don't finish. Till then it will be, you will keep talking. Body will keep expressing. Whatever he says because of the latent impressions of the past actions or calls me, if that Mahatma is seen as being a devotee of the Lord, he is calling out the Lord, he is writing abhangas of the Lord, he is singing the praises of the Lord, he is crying for the Lord. Gyaneshwari Maharaj also used to write abhangas. After having written something like this at 12 years age, given these lectures, after that, if he is writing abhangas, that and these abhangas are of viraha. Viraha means of separation. The Lord says here, calls me, I respond to his call, but there the one who says or calls is also myself. So because individuality is missing, so Lord is playing with himself. The water, if the wave has got realized, now what is a wave then? Play of water with water is called a wave, Leela. Individuality is missing. Wave is still expressing, but wave is not calling itself a wave anymore. Why? It has realized that it is the infinite waters. See, if you are understanding, good. If you are not understanding, listen again. One is the disposition of the absolute. From absolute point, nothing is happening. Whenever something is happening, so when consciousness is abiding in consciousness, nothing is happening. But the moment mind becomes active, then you come out of the consciousness, becomes aware of something happening, isn't it? But now what is happening? Whatever is happening is why is it happening? Not because he wants it. It is from the subconscious. Whatever is the latent impressions in your mind, they are prompting that activity. The doer of activity, the prompter of activity is the divine. What is that which inspires the senses, Kenopanishad says? Is the divine. So here also in a Mahatma who is abiding in his essential nature, he is seen talking, crying, remembering the divine, doing the puja. If you go to Sringeri, the Bharati Tirthaji, every day he does the puja of the Chandramaulishwar, etc. Great person. See, who's performing all that? No individual. The divine is doing it. If the speaker is also myself, then no conversation is possible. And so his silence amounts to praising me. See, if the speaker is also myself, then no conversation is possible. So the speaker, if the self is the speaker, then no conversation possible. If listener is the divine, then no listening possible. That is what we say. Put your attention on that because of which speaking is possible. What is that which is prompting the ears to hear, understanding to take place? Be that conscious principle. When conscious principle there and the consciousness here meet, silence. Then whether words are there or not there, there's no lack, there's nothing missing. Here we are giving lecture after lecture. There Ramana Maharshi sits in silence and everyone finds their answers. He says one word and everyone finds their answers. See? This capacity is possible only by being the conscious principle. So when he calls me and I respond to his call, his calling and praising me is effected through silence. So he is not using the words. Your words are gross. He is not thinking. That thinking is subtle. Still activity. But in silence, he is being himself. And that is the ultimate relationship with the divine. Actually, there is no relationship because he alone is there. But see, what happens is, who am I? We make that statement. This is suppose we are sitting in meditation, in the mind it comes, or we just chant, Om. Is your attention on Om? Is your attention on beginning? Is your attention on where the Om is ending? Or is your attention on the presence in whom which was supporting this expression of the Om? So when the Om ended, is there a feeling, now I should say the next one? Is there a feeling that I must remain in silence? Then you are thinking of silence. It's as we say, we have said it before, it's a knack. That whether there is sound or there is silence, you know you are other than both. And not only other than both, initially other than both. Thereafter, I am all that there is. So here, how do you explain that I am all that there is? Bhagwan says, I am the one who is prompting the mantra. I am the one who is making the Mahatma cry out for the Lord. I am the one who is the silence. I am the one who is expressing as the divine, as the name. I am the one. And what is name and form? The entire creation. Everything is the divine only afterwards for such a Mahatma. And therefore, I respond to his call. His calling and praising me is effected through silence. Whatever the devotee sees with his vision or intellect, that seeing does not show him any visible object but his own self. Just like when you stand in front of the mirror, which is absolutely clean and clear, ho gaya time, which is absolutely clean and clear, you are seeing everything, but what is it showing you? What is being reflected in the mirror? You alone, isn't it? Your attention is on the original. You are not taking the reflection to be real. Same way, the entire world is nothing but he sees with his vision and intellect. That seeing does not show him any visible object. कैटरैक्ट हो गया कुछ नहीं दिख रहा but his own self. So he looks at all the names and forms, but his attention is on the essence. How that essence alone. So when the wave has merged into the water and realized the water, when it looks again at the whole world of its, what does it see? Does it see waves or does it see water? Question to be asked. See, here Bhagavan is, Sri Krishna is saying, he does not see the differences, he sees the unity behind. He doesn't see the differences. We'll talk more about it, this last part, in our next class. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.